On the system screen appeared a notification. Ancient Tree Awakening, summoning the souls hidden within all surrounding trees. The older the tree, the more terrifying the power summoned. Yu's eyes lit up. A new ability. Staring at the words on the system screen, Yu began to sweat slightly. He frowned, mumbling to himself. The older a tree is, the stronger it gets, but just how strong can it become? With that, Yu opened a small rift in space and slipped through it, returning to the vitality space. His massive tree trunk reappeared in the lush micro-world teeming with life. He muttered, "Let's give it a try." The next second, Yu activated the new skill, Ancient Tree Awakening. His entire body was instantly wrapped in a faint green spiritual aura. Zhu Juan's fellow tribesman was the first to notice the change. It was so shocked that cold sweat broke out across its body, its pupils shrank, and disbelief flooded its face. The gray monkey standing nearby widened its eyes in astonishment and muttered, "What's going on?" Shwa! A pair of eyes suddenly flashed with brilliant golden light. The next moment, boom! A giant tree crashed straight into the ground, shaking the earth violently. Thick white dust billowed everywhere. Startled by the noise, Zhu Juan's fellow tribesman flapped its wings and quickly flew into the air. Several monkeys perched on the branches were caught off guard and were flung down by the shockwave caused by Yu. Eyes wide and mouths agape, they screamed in fear. Thud! The gray monkey slammed into the ground, landing at the base of the massive tree. Frightened, it shouted, "What just happened?" Then, the previously motionless ancient trees suddenly came to life. They transformed into sentient beings, their glowing eyes turning toward Yu. The next second, all of them moved to stand before him. They bowed in submission and shouted in unison, "Greetings, divine tree!" Yu stared in shock, eyes wide. He began to count the tree folk standing before him. 1, 2, 3. Over 30 trees have awakened already. Casting a glance at the system screen, Yu fell into thought. A new message had appeared. Awakened ancient trees will remain in an awakened state permanently, and can even cultivate. Yu's eyes sparkled with amazement. They can cultivate? He muttered under his breath. In other words, I've created a new race. Shifting his gaze to the awakened tree folk with their own independent consciousness, he thought in disbelief. A race that belongs only to me. The awakened tree folk before Yu were now fully living beings, mobile and capable of training. He took a closer look. The tree folk, a completely new species, branches for arms, roots for legs, crude, monstrous appearance. Suddenly, Yu pointed a thick tree root toward one of them. "You!" The tree folk was stunned. It looked at him with big, innocent eyes, awaiting further orders. Yu stretched his long root toward a large rock not far away, making sure the tree folk saw clearly. "Smash that rock for me." Upon receiving the order, the tree folk immediately let out a loud roar and charged forward. But suddenly, thud! It stumbled over a small stone right in front of it. Not yet used to its mobile body, the tree folk lost balance and crashed face first into the ground. Boom! Dust flew everywhere. The tree folk sat up amid the white cloud of dirt, eyes wide, leaning on its arms. From the spot where its nose had hit, a red liquid began to flow. Yu's face darkened. Brows tightly furrowed. "Seriously? So clumsy you got a nosebleed?" Still, the failed attempt didn't deter the tree folk. It jumped back up and once again rushed toward the large rock. A moment later, a loud boom resounded in the air. With sharp, focused eyes, the tree folk smashed its fist into the giant stone. Cracks spread outward like a spiderweb as the stone exploded into pieces. Yu stared, stunned. He could hardly believe his eyes. "Huh!" The tree folk stood amidst the swirling dust, hands on its hips, its round face glowing with pride as it looked at Yu, wide-eyed. At that moment, a notification popped up from the system. "Transcendent Rank 2. Yu silently praised it in his heart. "Pretty decent strength." Suddenly, he extended a root toward the tree folk. "But what about your defense?" Smack! With a sharp crack, he struck the tree folk's body hard with his root. The tree folk didn't even flinch. Only a puff of dust rose from where Yu had hit it. It stood there dazed, unable to react, looking around with a blank expression. Question marks practically floated above its head, as if it hadn't even realized what had just happened. Yuziyu withdrew his root. Slow reflexes, he muttered. But impressive defense, just lacking in speed. And intelligence. Looking at the crowd of tree folk before him, Yuziyu continued. If properly nurtured, they'll definitely become an extraordinary fighting force. He opened a spatial portal leading to another planet, then gave them a command. Go, from now on, the Mist World will be your place of residence. The tree folk began filing toward the portal. Yuziyu frowned and muttered. No, it shouldn't be called the Mist World anymore. Watching the tree folk gradually pass through the rift and head to the new planet, Yuziyu made a decision. I'll rename it to the Tree Dominion. On the Flame World, Yuziyu tore through space and entered. He approached Nine Tails and called out. Nine Tails. Nine Tails responded instantly. Master. Without wasting words, Yuziyu got straight to the point. Help me gather various types of spiritual trees. If you can find ancient ones, even better. As soon as he finished speaking, he retracted himself back into the rift and disappeared like a breeze, leaving Nine Tails sweating nervously, not even able to respond in time. Nine Tails shouted after him. Wait up. Seeing Yuziyu was already gone, it grumbled in disbelief. Ancient trees? He wants me to find ancient trees now? 3 days later, 2 radiant trees floated in the void. One blazed golden like fire, the other shimmered icy blue like frozen snow. Standing between them, Nine Tails spoke. This one is the fire spirit tree, this one is the ice spirit tree. It briefly explained how it found the 2 trees, both discovered on Azure Star. Yuziyu examined the 2 trees and nodded in satisfaction. Very good, now step back a bit, let me show you something. With those words, Yuziyu immediately activated Ancient Tree Awakening. His entire body was wrapped in a massive surge of spiritual energy. That power surged into the fire spirit tree and the ice spirit tree that Nine Tails had just brought back. The next moment, both trees suddenly awakened, transforming into humanoid tree folk.